Welcome back, guys. We are here after game number 1 of Afreeca versus Sandbox Gaming. 1-0 in favor of Afreeca on the backs of Dread's incredible Lee Sin performance here. Picked that early game jungler, put it to good use this time around. Ended up 4-0-3 very early on. Finished off 6-0-6, and the jungle difference turned out to be pretty big in that game number 1, but mostly a team difference, as well as Afreeca looking on another level here tonight up against Sandbox.
Ominous for there to be a team difference between two teams where Sandbox comes in actually more front row for playoffs than Afreeca. Afreeca kind of one match behind the crew at 10-5. That could definitely become parity by the time the end of the season draws around, and that will be next Sunday, guys. So we don't have much more than 9 days of Korean regular season League of Legends to talk about. The playoffs will come after that. Zooming in on this series, important note, this is in fact the 5th game between Afreeca Freecs and Sandbox so far in summer season. 4 games, all won on the blue side so far. So Sandbox Gaming get to jump onto blue side for this particular game, and you get to ban away the pocket picks a bit more. They saw one look of the Ucal clear, and they decided that was enough.
Yeah, he's kind of good at that champion, so probably a good reason why you want to take that one away, as first pick Jace was a thing that Summit was doing a lot. Ezreal take it away early here. Sejuani going to be left up. It was actually left up in game number 1 as well. And we did have Aatrox taken first. Akali amongst the bans as well from game number one actually. So they might just swipe this one up here, and they will.
So I think a lot of people will look at Taliyah Gragas bans against Afreeca Freecs. They're not normally a Gragas team, and go, huh, what's going on here? Why are we banning those? But if you look at Ucal's wins, they come in spots that might surprise you. For example, he's now moved to 7-2 on Taliyah. He's also 3-0 on Yasuo. And the Gragas ban, I think, is to get Ucal away from Yasuo and also away from Taliyah, obviously, with the direct ban. His win rate on Azir, 50% in 6 games. Negative win rate on Sylas, 1-3 on Corki. So the meta picks recently haven't been what Ucal's been picking. They're trying to target ban him. Kiana Hover, champion was kind of adjusted on this patch, so definitely isn't stronger than before. So you're not going to see it early. Could definitely come late, theoretically, in the right comp. But, wow, Korean side having a big laugh about good old Kiana. But yeah. Kiana to the side, and Kiin says, what you got against my Aatrox? Because I'm not worried about Cannon.
He had a grand old ball up in the top lane that time around. Had a bit of help from his friends early on. But the Renekton was actually banned away by Afreeca in the second round. This time around, they say, well, we have a pick for you this time, Dread, or Kiin rather, as Renekton is going to be swiped up here.
Can go into either lane, and when Sandbox looked their best in spring season, it was the epitome of the world's flex assassins meta. And Renekton and Akali, the thing about Sandbox was they had the most overlap out of champion pool between Dove and Summit of any team. They could really play both picks at super high level. And now they're going for the, well, someone's going to have to lane against Renekton Xinjiao, which is pretty damn high pressure in the early game. And OnFleek really doesn't want another game like game number 1 where he was a passenger. Elise versus Xin is always a pretty fiery matchup.
I was about to say that. This is definitely a draft already that lends itself to more action, more early game, more ganks, and a lot of fun, as we did have in game number 1, as Senan gonna hop back onto his one-trick pick here, the Nautilus.
And you know what? We're skirmishing. Really, of all these champions, the only teamfight champion is Aatrox. Kind of everyone else is a skirmisher, and Aatrox's skirmishing is pretty strong. It's only his 1v1 laning phase where he struggles, so got a lot of skirmishing going on between the two. It's an arms race, Valdez, gotta say. See if Sandbox can continue this blue winning streak between Afreeca and Sandbox, as no bot lane selected on the side of Sandbox means the Xayah Rakan ban comes out.
And everybody's looking bot lane right now. Kai'Sa gonna be taken away. It's just, you know, taking stuff that they looked comfortable on in the past.
Yuumi open so far, could be considered. Nautilus has always been seen as a pretty good answer into the Yuumi, especially after they made her more interruptible, but the laning phase is still very oppressive. The latest nerfs aren't live on 9.15, so...
Yuumi is really annoying.
Oh yeah.
So...
I played a solo queue game recently
and
was reminded of how annoying Yuumi is. She does a lot of damage. Remember, LS was also very surprised by that fact. The numbers can be huge. Cannon ban, which kind of amusing, but there's a chance that Ucal is jumping onto the Aatrox in the mid lane.
So where are they going to go from here? Do they want to just go ahead and pick an AD carry and save that counter pick?
I think Xayah here is pretty good, but they're actually going to just lock in Azir straight up, and that makes you kind of... I'm playing around with my beard a bit. I'm wondering what this could mean for Aiming's pick, because you could get really creative.
Aatrox, Nautilus, bot lane.
I just want to see something new from Aiming.
Let's do it.
Like, Aiming feels pretty top-heavy in his champion pool. A lot of Ezreal, as we know. The Xayah was the one I would have assumed would be picked up here because the pick come from Sandbox, and taking a no-flash AD carry against Akali can be sad as all right. Vindicating holding on to AD carry pick. We're going strongest possible. Sandbox do not want to be trifled with in the early game.
And Draven, you guys can see there, 100% win rate so far. And Ghost is a big player of Draven. He was playing it a lot in spring. Eventually started to drop off of that pick, but whenever we do see it, he is one of those guys that loves to pick it up, as Varus is going to be the answer here.
It might even be Comet Varus for staying the hell away. Comet Varus is really strong against specifically the Thresh, because you can just poke him down whenever he tries to walk up. This is a hard laning phase, though, and OnFleek has got a lot of gankable lanes. He's probably going to have to leave Dove to kind of suffer. And we could see Dread trying to snowball the Azir and extend the kind of suffering phase till Gunblade for Akali. But if you're Kiin or if you're aiming in Senan, you got to be very aware of your surroundings. To me, this might actually have to be MVP of game number 1 Dread, making it all about the Elise and her turret dives, because if Elise doesn't have the same Midas touch the Lee Sin pick did in game number 1, there's a chance there's too many fires in top and bot lane for any other lane to matter.
Elise has the world on her shoulders here in this one. As we're going to take another look here at the draft. You'll notice the Renekton was able to be snatched up. Xin Zhao back for OnFleek. We mentioned how Akali was target banned against Dove in game number 1. Ghost on his 2-0 Draven, the only person so far in summer to play it, is going to go on to another one of his undefeated picks there. Joker 0-1 on the Thresh, but looking to make it work with the Draven.
5-1 Elise, though. Dread, Elise definitely fits him, but it's a very particular champion. She has her windows. If she takes them, she's super oppressive, and Xin Zhao probably cut from the same cloth, so jungle matchup, as always, going to be important in summer. Match 77, only 13 more to go. Let's get into game.
Fans are really not holding back now, especially with the the bars raised so high here. Forgetting the word I wanted to use, but you guys catch my drift. Everything's on the line as the stakes were raised. That's what I wanted to say. As everybody's trying to vie for those last playoff spots, we got 7 teams still in the race. It's slowly becoming 6, though. We'll have to keep an eye on Kingzone and just how many times they decide to lose, as we're going to get off to a pretty fun start here. We'll see just how much action we have for Elise versus Xin Zhao.
All we can say about playoffs is no one is secured yet, which is so surreal with just 6 match days after today. Do notice that aiming hasn't gone Comet Varus. He wants to walk up in lane. Vertical jungling will be the best way to create some presence for the Varus, because I think everyone knows that Draven starts hitting you, press the attack, cleanse Draven. He is absolutely set up to just run at Varus and kill him.
That is pretty incredible. Can't wait to see what Ghost is able to do in this game as well. We're level 2 and we're looking bot side.
Now this could be a cheese gank, but surely you are on the back foot as aiming in this game. There's no ward placed.
He didn't go Comet, though. He actually went for lethal
Yeah,
tempo
that's
here.
what we were saying. So
Yeah.
it means that he kind of needs some jungle coverage to make it work. Dread is definitely not helping him out in the early game. He's trying to go top side and swing that matchup. So this is quite a lot to be left out, you know, on your own. It's very lonely in bot lane. And you know what? Those Night Terrors you've heard about, they're definitely around.
Scary stuff as OnFleek is just now pushing Ucal out of lane, just running right through the mid lane. Doesn't give a mundo about any of that here. Let's take a look at some of the win rates here. Ucal, obviously very famous for his Azir, but 3-3 on it this season.
Great Azir player. Bit of mind games with the SK Telecom T1 Azir skin. Was made to commemorate Easy Hoon. Years ago, the first substitute player, or non-starting 5 player, to pick up a skin. Coma swiftly following with his amazing ward skin. Topside, Kiin was able to put one Aatrox counter pick in the dumpster in game number 1, taking down the AD cannon. Now we're on to Renekton duty. Xin Zhao gonna be clearing his camps for now, so not gonna be that lane pressure just yet.
Dread level 3 already on the move here, but just going to go for the Scuttle Crab to start us off. The lane is pushing into the bot side, so if Ghost and Joker go over aggressive, he could visit there. Wards will be placed. Dread is actually hanging around the mid lane for now.
So one lane that OnFleek is very unlikely to counter gank. Usually, you're always going to counter gank from a jungler because mid lane is so close to those important camps, but in this scenario where bot lane and top lane are eminently gankable, mid lane's a little bit harder. Kali doesn't really provide anything pre-6. Ghost happy to push up, but if Amy's getting, you know, 4 out of 5 CS, he's going to be very, very happy against the Draven. And when it comes to the late game, there is going to be a lot of threat. Infernal Chains, Azir swooping in, Nautilus ult, all going to be trained upon the Draven and try to restrict his positioning. Draven from ahead can definitely teamfight with the best of them in the late game, but if you're just farming it out, not being able to cash in your passive, not ahead, it is much harder.
And you can see what the agenda is here for Sandbox.
What would you say it is, Valdez? Could you do a report for us, news report here? We're crossing to Valdez.
Okay, guys, well, the report is get the damn Draven ahead. That's what we're looking at here. Okay, we're trying to get on top of this Nautilus here, force that flash. Trying to turn it around here a bit is Senan. Is able to get his Aftershock, but a bit of damage traded back, and Dread not really on time to make any big plays just yet, but he's hanging around.
I'm gonna cross to the weather, and I can report that it's still a bit murky in bot lane. It's clear that there's a southern front coming from the Sandbox side, but it doesn't lead to much here. They actually get the flash, but it is the cost of the Ignite and a lot of the time from OnFleek. Counter gank was in the cards from Dread, but didn't actually come together. No kills secured just yet, and Sen still fearlessly walking up with no flash.
He doesn't really care here. Seems to know that the Shinjao should have backed and already be looking towards that top side, which is exactly where he's sprinting to right now. This is something you can do. Maybe the top laner thinks, oh, there's no way you can get up here on time, but he's actually right on top of you, Kiin. How are you going to get out of this one? He's not even going to flash. Just going to be bursted down by the OnFleek gank. Perfect timing to shut Kiin down.
And that's so important for Summit's confidence and also the Renekton pick. You want to play through this, get that Shojin, start to ram it down the Aatrox, who's very much going to be trying to find better times in the game. And when you're going, press the attack, cleanse Draven, and Renekton top into Aatrox with a Xin Zhao Hail of Blades. You're playing for early game. They need to get a start, and that is the start. They still need more.
OnFleek not leaving just yet, but you can see that Dread and Ucal are rotating top side. Lots of vision up here, including a control ward. Sees
Do it again.
Oh boy, Blaze is gone. And, well, the flash is available this time, and he's level 6, so a nice little speed boost. And he does have Dread close enough by, so he gets away a lot.
Really scoots spots.
Yeah.
Man, pieced out on that one. Felt like a Scion ult. The cowards was implied on that particular play. He'll get away, but first time got the kill, second time got the flash. It is going to be very, very favored for Summit in the 1v1 with that many advantages. And in the midst of all of this, Akali's gone CS for CS to level 6, so definitely feeling happy about that, even though Ucal on screen was trying to set up as much of a freeze as possible in mid lane.
Yeah, not half bad. We also did have the Scuttle Crab report. No longer get that here on this broadcast. Used to have it in the past, but it's actually 3-0 in favor of Afreeca. He's got one, and Dread was able to get 2 so far.
That one. Remember, we would say 3-0 on the Spo TV broadcast for the Scuttle Crabs. That was our nomenclature there. Please keep up, Valdez.
3-0.
We've got Wabam. We've got the 3-0. Important to keep it there. If it gets to 7-1, Twitch Tech gets very excited.
We just need 7 more kills here for Afreeca. See if we can get there. As nice little trade there by aiming, essentially 2-on-1. Having a fun time.
Draven continues to do his thing. We're expecting the Bloodthirster frontline build from the Draven, which is pretty much the way it always goes. And again, Varus largely staying in the hunt here. Is speaking of hunting, OnFleek, bot lane once again, trying to make this play happen. They know Senan's flash is on cooldown, so that's going to be the target.
Senan, how are you going to get it? Oh, the death sentence is going to land short, and now Dread's here. But OnFleek smartly going to back away. They do not know about this Elise just yet. OnFleek not ready to leave the bot lane just yet.
The vision toggles are so control in these sort of plays. Ghost, he's got cleanse, remember?
Yeah.
I think we're going to get some action, Valdez.
The cocoon from the bush.
Oh, the posturing!
Oh, it's going to land here on the Ghost, but they're just trying to jump onto that Dress. They will get him, but Dread takes so much damage from the Draven, and that's going to be 2 already to the side of Sandbox as Afreeca bait themselves into it, and Ghost is going to be able to pick up a kill on the backside, feeling so good. Our Sandbox after that play.
Oh man, what a play by Sandbox. And on the replay, I want to illustrate something that's so cool about how the play came together, because if you notice, Cleanse was not used, even though Chains of Corruption hit the Draven. We'll talk about that on the replay. Ucal saying, hey, I don't know about you getting an Infernal on top of this one. Seems like he'll be able to stop it. The leash range here.
Infernal Drake is uncertain, considering his options, but eventually will be shut down.
Oh, it turns out the Infernal Drake was asked who was going to win the series. It was very caught in 2 minds, even after game number 1.
Joker with the steal!
Hey! Now Dread's tilted.
Yeah, that's when you slam your keyboard, you leave the PC bong, and you say, I've had enough League of Legends for today.
Well, the game 3 that we all wanted, the blue side win streak, wasn't guaranteed, but Sandbox really clearly in the draft knew what they wanted. They said, all right, I see how it is. We're going to go ultra early game and make it work, and so far it's working. Afreeca Freecs are not out of this one. They can turn it around. Their team fighting is very, very powerful if they can get there, but need to stem the bleeding a little bit. They spotted Xinjiao topside, and I don't know if that ward's been cleared, but they definitely know Akali just picked up blue. Yep, the ward was cleared, the zombie ward present there. We'll get a replay hopefully soon, so you can look at how Ghost actually played really heads up in a scenario where they heavily expected the Elise to be bot lane.
They're expecting her to be bot lane again. You can see a million blue pings saying, hey, Elise is somewhere in our jungle. They found her now. As they see the Raptors were taken. Here's that replay you were looking for.
Remember, Ghost has Cleanse and actually doesn't use it on the Chains of Corruption. The reason for that is, with Xinjiao, with Challenging Smite coming in, he only wants to cleanse something that will stop him picking up a kill. So even though it's a pretty short cooldown, respect to Ghost for understanding he wasn't actually under any pressure during the Chains of Corruption CC. Most people just cleanse with the first CC that hits them. He holds on to it, still has it. Nicely done by Sandbox.
Gotta feel really good about that one. Was able to pick up 449 gold on his first kill as the Draven. Some of the blades just yet in this game, as Infernal is going to go down here to the side of Sandbox. And once again, we got one team dominating pretty hard in the early game. I'd argue that Afreeca was dominating a little bit harder in game number 1, but very close both ways.
Afreeca did it with creative plays and great timings, a wonderful level 1. Meanwhile, the Sandbox way is a little bit harder to give full credit for because it's let's draft early game, but actually get in the position to use it, so it still should be rewarded. But I'm kind of with you, and the Afreeca was more creative, so naturally we're biased towards the creative side. It's still nice to see a team go this early game. It's not common in Korea. You already mentioned we have 100% win rate Draven, but only one player has played it twice.
Yeah, it's only Ghost, and he's looking to add some numbers to that win rate. We'll see if he can do it. Just 2,500 gold lead at this point. As
basically the same gold lead as we had in game number 1.
The next objective is apparently a kill. Very close as Aiming has to heal to get out of range of that ultimate, but you can see with that acceleration in the early game that Sandbox is looking as, okay, he got the hit.
Clips on the back of the head on that play. This is Afreeca being a little bit too telegraphed, and remember what we said at the end of game number 1. Afreeca got ahead and then flexed because they are young, talented solo queue players who are used to playing from ahead. From behind, they haven't necessarily had that same ability to stem bleeding, to scale, to get to the late game SPT style in many, many metas. So there is the chance that they see something, they see the chance for a kill before the items are online from behind, and then Sandbox take it down. Sandbox is the much more controlled team of the two, and usually in Korea, that gives them an advantage.
See that happening here as well. Nice little amount of damage on the Joker, but I'm surprised that Sandbox did not try to push this hard enough, but Dread in a bit of trouble now. He's got 3 members of Sandbox on top of him as he thought he was safe, but actually just got death sentenced as they will be able to pick up this Rift Herald. It's not going to be on time to get any plates, but they still will pick up this objective.
With the flash invested, Summon's got plenty of damage. He's got the Executioner's Calling for early lane, the item completion. Already saw Draven saying, don't care about turrets, I'm gonna go for solo kill. And the Gunblade is done on Akali. You're really not safe anywhere if you're Afreeca Freecs. Under turret, in lanes, Sandbox has so much power to wield. Every time any of these members walks up, wow, it's red buff on the Renekton. So best of luck there, we say to Kiin.
Red buff on Renekton, red buff on Draven in the bottom lane.
Oh, great. Here's a replay of how it all went down. Just how much power you can wield on the side of Afreeca. It was helping out with the Krugs, trying to get some extra gold into Aatrox in the top lane.
He got level 8 already.
Yep.
Dread did.
But he's just trying to stick around. It's a nice death sentence coming through from Joker, the same that missed onto the Nautilus and bot side. We see the long play, the creative level up.
Okay.
No flashy calls. There was some smack talk there.
Yeah, I don't know what he said, but
we'll let you know if we get a translation on what Joker said. It sounded like some casual smack talk.
He's having some fun on the Threat, trying to make a case for him to play perhaps more in the future. I wouldn't be too unhappy.
Play around bot side here with how damn strong the Draven is. The control ward spot there is so important. They can't allow anyone to enter that foremost brush, otherwise the turret dive threat is insane.
Both junglers hanging around the mid side now. It's a Cloud Drake next, so it's not quite the infernal mountain that Afreeca got from game 1. And it's not quite the same amount of plates that we had in game 1 either. Just the 1 was picked up in terms of gold, as 3 total were taken down. And apparently what was said by Joker was that he is the Thresh Master.
He gets to make hard statements because he is the kind of young of the team, the oldest player, currently playing the LCK older than old man score. So he gets to actually say that he's good rather than have false modesty. Is goodbye mid lane turret. It was nice knowing you.
Takes it down again. No gold from any plates or anything like that, but a mid lane turret early on is going to be pretty fantastic.
Timing is also relevant, not so much about the game timing, but the fact that the Drake has just spawned, so it gives them positioning on this Drake. There is a ward to spot them here, though.
Oh boy, didn't see this one coming, did ya? As Aiming is just dead as TP's coming in, but Kiin is running away. Thinking about going in now, though, is OnFleek pretty low. Another nice interrupt there as Ucal trying to put Ghost in the dumpster is going to be able to, as finally Afreeca getting a couple of kills on the board, but still Sandbox win the favor.
Yeah, it's 2 for 3 from Afreeca's perspective, but they'll lose the turret as well, so they're still paying the price for the early game capitalization from Sandbox. Ghost dies, but under a turret, kind of having a bit of extra time to think about everything he's done. He's got a rapid fire cannon here just to get even more autos in. The wards were early warning for Afreeca, but they didn't respect enough, and Sandbox are not to be trifled with in the early game.
You don't really want to fight them here, but we'll take another look as...
It's a sick ward to spot them walking up, but they just don't respect the flash in play. Coming through from Joker, that was a Threshmaster play, hitting both with the flay. Xinjiao can do the rest. The TPs come in from the Sandbox side. Again, Afreeca gets something, so when you're behind, 2 for 3 is not so bad, but the turret falling as well is what cements it as Sandbox favor.
Another great play from Joker right before he goes in the stopwatch, delays the death of OnFleek, who did eventually die, but gains them a bit of time. As, yeah, it was just, you know, they saw them coming on the wards, but the Lantern to get Xinjiao over there secretly was also pretty cool. And, yeah, just trying to extend their lead now is Sandbox. As, okay, well, that's, you're going to get denied from any hook that time around.
And the blue buff steal does remove some power from Dove in the side lane on the Akali, very energy-hungry champion. Is that Akali? One thing I want to talk about is, you know, we kind of outlined that we expected Comet Varus here just to try to have lane presence. They went just for a normal Varus build, saying, well, if...
Oh, Ghost.
He's in
oh, boy. Why are you out here all alone? Nobody to help him. The Thresh is top lane. There's no vision bot side. And he just goes down 1v4.
He walks through a control ward on the way just to fully announce it. That was poor from Ghost. He zoned out a little bit there, and unfortunately that has been a thing that we've seen from him through the BBQ Olivers and even the CJ Entus days in the past. So bad look there from Ghost as it stops the snowball. Can't afford for plays like that to happen, and these are 280 carries that definitely can be caught out in the late game. Aiming has had his worries as well.
You got to be careful at this level of play to give anything back to the enemy team. That's part of the reason why you see Korean teams playing it so slow. They don't want to make any mistakes. They want to be methodical about slowly closing out the game. But little things like that, 1 kill here, maybe it rolls into 2. You can take an objective away, and right away, Afreeca gets back in the game.
And the point I was trying to get to is going for not the Comet Varus, going for this auto attack focus Varus build, you know, play the Ruin King Rageblade build, suggests that Varus has enough time to tune up the Rageblade, get stacks, and keep fighting. It doesn't have to be Rageblade, but it can definitely be the way you go. It works well against Renekton. The issue is that he needs an ally who can actually threaten Draven's positioning, otherwise Varus will never have any breathing room. So Aatrox getting kills is the worst possible result for the side of Sandbox, because he is someone that can actually force Draven out of a fight if he has enough kills, and we know how strong an Aatrox can grow to be in that 5v5 phase.
And it's Kiin's Aatrox, too. You just know it's someone who's reliable, who's going to be in position and knows exactly what you were saying to, you know, get that Draven out of the fight and allow Varus to do damage in the back.
Because you might be baited into thinking, oh, what if Varus got the kills? But the problem there is his front line just gets melted by all the damage. And Sandbox have Akali and also Renekton to dive that just take a lot of time to kill. So it doesn't really matter. Varus will still have a hard time. They need their front line to have gold, or maybe an Azir who can move from back to front line, a little bit like Kai'Sa with his mobility. So for now, Aiming just needs his items. He's going to get them late. He's behind. But no one more perfect than Kiin to pick up a kill and increase the doubt on whether this will be a Sandbox victory.
The second brushes here, trying to deny as much vision as possible. Got another Infernal next, but no Mountain, which means no bursting down of the Baron just yet. Just trying to take some objectives and once again, methodically continue their lead without any mistakes.
Yeah, we're up to about 6,000 here. Baron would be what they're looking for to try to lock out the game, but for now it's going to be far too risky to visit. Infernal spawning at 2 minutes 40, probably the next real flare point in the game. Here's the 1v1 laning phase. No Shojin done just yet, and Kiin has actually been able to put together a random sampler of items to try to get through the laning phase. He's got some lifesteal. He has the Warden's Mail, knowing that he could be wailed upon by quite a few members of the Sandbox side, including the Xinjiao, for example. So
yeah.
Don't hate the itemization, but does slow down the death stance.
I'll have to wait a bit of time to get onto there, but good item purchases. Dove is trying to go on in here to Ucal, but Ucal not having any of that, even with Senan and Dread nearby.
It's not over until that Baron is kind of our read on where Sandbox is at. And Sandbox also have a comp that can't deal with Baron. Look at this comp trying to wave clear. It's going to be really sad times. So they are very much in the driver's seat. We'll mostly be focusing on their perspective because the onus of the game is largely on them. We've already talked multiple times about how Afreeca are not the most comfortable team in a scaling scenario. So it feels like there will be a moment where if Sandbox can recreate the early game killer instinct they've had, they'll get an opening and be able to find a lot with the gold lead they already have. But for now, at least, the game slows down. All the easy objectives done. Let's see how Sandbox's objectives are in terms of trying to close out this game.
Once again, setting up another invade here, but it's going to be clearing out the mission for now. You can see perhaps the play being sent out on the bottom side as Summit and Dove were coming in together towards Kiin.
Sure. A lot of respect here. Kiin trying to work out his angle.
Oh, trying to get the angle here and bait them in 5v2. Has Afreeca found it? Renekton is going to be pretty slippery, but does have to flash away, which means that Afreeca with a nice little win in that skirmish.
It does mean that Renekton doesn't have the same sideline pressure now because he can potentially be brought to his knees. So Afreeca runs to mid lane, try to force something. Only the sun turret up here, so it's only going to be a short window in which they can have mid priority. They're going to use the flash being blown to get some wards, to get some positioning. They've got to continue to get small leads. There is no blow a flash, start Baron play available after the early game was so Sandbox favored.
Inferno Drake here. You got to know that a 5v5 should be happening here unless Sandbox are not confident, but they are the ones ahead. We got a couple of fantastic wards for that Akali to jump onto.
When do you pull the trigger? Infernal spawns could be a big moment. Here's the TP, it's coming in.
She comes in, and now we're kind of getting disjointed here as Afreeca, but now we're going to try to burst down the Renekton, and they can! As Senan goes low, but it doesn't really matter. 2 kills in the way of Afreeca, but here's Dove trying to shut him down. Gets 2 already. Dodges those soldiers, getting on top of Ucal. He's gonna stopwatch that Emperor's Divide as well as Kiin and Ucal now have to be on the run. Joker pretty low, but Dove is the real master of this fight as he takes down a third. He's got the Shuriken, gives the last kill to the Draven, and they are gonna be able to clean up at the 8.
Another cash in onto this early game from Sandbox gets them a really big gold lead. It was disjointed like you mentioned, Renekton died instantly, but it was all in service of Dove getting backline access, and like we were talking about, there's just no chance for Afreeca's damage dealers to actually open up because there's the threat level. First the Renekton, that didn't work, but Akali and Draven did the rest. You see the replay here, remember, Akali's not there, but no threat onto Ghost, and there's always threat onto Amy. First OnFleek gets him low, and then Dove kills him as an afterthought. And while Kiin is strong, it's just honestly, pick and execute, mark and execute your Call of Duty guy. It's so easy to do that in games like this, and Kiin's ult just times out because they just tried to treat him like a top lane. Nasus is getting stacks. Ignore him, kill everyone else.
And now is a delayed Quadra, actually, to Dove, with the Draven picking up the final kill. So Dove now 4-0-1. I don't think he's actually bought after that. I don't see any new items currently in his inventory.
It'll come together.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Waiting on that one.
Been the edge done. Pretty much straight up for Ghost, so yeah, this is a pretty big deal. We still got a stopwatch as well, so even if they can find a creative dive, we've already talked about like, how do you get there. Ghost being too far up and maybe having stopwatch and Nautilus ult you could see, but otherwise, with his cleanse still available, he's under so little threat. Seems like that game 3 we forecast is seeming very, very likely. If this was a chance of rain thing, we're at the 90% mark. for precipitation.
Take a look at the items here for the Akali. What does she pick up?
Full Zonias.
Full Zonias.
Just from the stopwatch. So, yep, she can also reliably dive now. Senan, be scared. These are definitely torrential waters, or torrid waters that you're wading through.
I liked how OnFleek, you know, the Xin Zhao doesn't always do the most as the game comes along, but okay, we're fighting. Sandbox. Joker really trying to get this one started as already a lot of damage out of the Draven. Kiin is not going to go down, but Dove, 1v5 in the Shroud is just bursting people down. He has that Zonias that he just bought as well, so aiming is not able to respond. That's 2 more kills to the side of Sandbox.
Held on to his shuriken mobility for so long till he could get that first kill onto Dread. 2 for 0 on the play. Baron could potentially be at the whim, but yep, Azir will come back in. Remember, he can do a lot of damage over the wall. How will Sandbox stop this?
Sandbox has to be careful. No perfect execution here. The chains are going to land, though, as Ucal is going to put down that Thresh, but what about the rest of them? Trying to get in there. The smite is going to be good for Sandbox. Summit trying to zone them away as Kiin is going to go down, and it looks like Afreeca went a little bit too far trying to stop this one as everybody's going to be shut down. A triple kill now for Ghost.
Oh, Draven so big, 4,000 gold lead over his opponent. That Baron, really important. He's picked up, 15k from the adoration of both the in-game variety, and I'm sure from his fans and also his teammates. The Draven pick has come up big. I love that Sandbox can do this because so few other Korean teams would even consider it. Sandbox will break the base. 28 minutes into the game, not as quick as our game number 1, but right now with the same level of applause.
They just have 2 guys that are incredibly fed. I'm not even sure if Dread would be able to burst one down before he dies.
Definitely not.
He's thinking about it, though, as, well, I suppose not. He's got vision here on Dove, who's 4 levels higher than him. And Dread says, no thank you. I would not like to fight you at this moment in time.
He's going to die to 3 axes from the Draven, so he needs to get out of there. Here's a replay of the entire play. They were on a ward the entire time. That's why Kiin was started. A lot of ults are dumped in, but they're never going to be able to actually kill Joker. The Joker may be low health, but I love Dove picking his moment, killing Dread almost as an afterthought. And none of this is threat on Draven, as Ghost just gets the back line and ends up with, what, 4 kills over the course of this play, a triple after that initial opener.
Good hook here by Joker.
He's just buying time.
Yeah, Joker's just going to die.
Actually gets the Emperor's Divide onto just a low health Thresh. It means it's not there to try to push anyone away. And Summit just gives up his health bar, keeping people around.
Just 3 Draven axes, a little bit more from his friends. Baron picked up here already almost a 5,000, well, as I say that, 5,000 power play in terms of gold, and we're pushing for more with a minute and a half left over. We do have a decent amount of wave clear here on the side of Afreeca with that Azir. See how long they can hold on. The question really feels like Quinn rather than him.
I mean, the gold is 14,000. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And lots of kills in both of these games. I think the first one was 15-2. This one is 18-8. Huh. So lots of action so far. That's a nice amount of damage.
Probably more damage than you might expect for a Varus in this game, just because his life is so hard to kind of interact with. I guess maybe he did some damage to Thresh in lane, but other than that, it's also the world's saddest Varus build going GA for, well, maybe I'll get some hits afterwards. GA, not as good on Varus is the 3rd item as it is in TFT as a rush item, so unfortunate. Kind of waiting for Sandbox to just pick this one up.
All right, they can get the pick here on the Summit. No, he's going to be able to dash away with the flash, but getting pretty low, and they're going to find OnFleek as well. That should put a stop to it here as they were going for the 3-lane push with Dove in the top side. So basically a pick and a half, getting a lot out of that Renekton as well, plus the kill. You can see that Dove, level 18, he's super confident, actually trying to stick around in the mid lane, knows that he's not under any danger with all of his abilities and flash available, and now with the TP coming back, they're just going to continue pushing.
I think they've been too scared to just group, though. They didn't have any control of the enemy base, so they just got picked with 3-lane push. They should just group. They have great turret dive ability, with Renekton being a bundle of health and all of the damage they can do instantly. Burst is insane on the Sandbox side, but Sun Turret comes down, and Sandbox, while they started with a strong Baron buff, gold power play, should have been able to get more here. High expectations when you already have so much of this game sewn up, but at the end of the day, there's going to be a game 3, almost 100%. And what is happening when everyone can just roll into mid lane and try to get pick after pick? Like, slow amount of damage onto an inhibitor turret, Akali dealing with an Aatrox. Like, there should be much more aggression about this game close. Diving turrets should be easy for Sandbox.
Yeah, just trying to spread out a little bit too much. Thought they were strong enough. Didn't expect those kinds of picks, I suppose. So what should have been 2 inhibitors and maybe even more on top of that. So maybe even the game ending if they get a good dive down. Small breath of life given over to Afreeca, who again is still down 14,000 gold and 3 Infernal Drakes.
Yeah, it's even more than 14,000 gold. This
So,
Draven is a god. He has 455 AD. He is absolutely monstrous, and we're not even talking about Dove, who will accidentally kill Dread on the way to killing someone else. One axe!
That was 1 axe, guys.
1.
Just 1.
The answer is 2.3 axes, kills in Azir.
And that means that a mistake needs to be made and CC chains need to happen if you want to kill them.
It's not enough. They've only got that for 1 person. The other 4 kills them while they try and do that. So Sandbox just waiting on for them to pull the trigger. You had the coaching staff on comm to be, let's go. Speaking of let's go.
All right, here we go. Aftershock, but it just doesn't matter. As Senan gonna disappear like the wind as coming on in. Dove is gonna use that last bit of his perfect execution. Dread doesn't really exist as, well, nobody really does on the side of Afreeca. That axe, it followed him all the way back onto that little shuffle as a quadra kill is gonna be pretty good there for Ghost, and this is gonna be game number 2 going the way of Sandbox.
Well, are they gonna force this Penta? Quadra kill so far, they want it.
Ooh.
Aiming's not gonna give it.
Yeah. Joker not able to get in there as couple autos. They want it, but it's not quite going to happen. GG! As in about 32 minutes, Sandbox are going to be able to tie up this series and bring us to a game number 3.
What a fun game number 2 between Afreeca and Sandbox. What a series that we hyped up, and it delivers. All leaves us with a mouth-watering 6th regular season game between Afreeca and Sandbox. Really, really fun one to watch. Remember, all 5 games have gone blue side, so Sandbox have that going for them. But with playoffs on the line, only one team will be happily stepping away from this series, even though they've both had games that they'll want to be able to return to in future series.
This one's really eating up there as Ghost. He had that one oopsie moment.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, though, he was clean as a whistle. Just went in there and was doing sick tons of damage. No doubt should have the most damage on his team, you'd have to imagine, by the end of it. But once again, just a very big landslide in favor of one team. Really does show you how competitive and how close these top teams really are.
Funnily enough, it took a while for Sandbox to realize that the weapons the enemy team had were made of plastic. You know, they had real serrated weapons. The enemy team had Nerf guns, basically. But they showed a lot of respect, tried to close it out conventionally. And then they're like, wait, why don't we just fight? And it turns out fighting was the right way to go. They were a GA and aiming being a scaredy cat away from a pentakill on the Draven. Now we get to a game number 3, and will it be a new draft from both sides, or will it be a greatest hits of games number 1 and 2? Because this is for the coaches to make their money, try to adjust, and if some of those big champions, like for example the Talia on Afreeca or the Draven on Sandbox are left open, the question should not be, let's lock it in as fast as possible. It should be, why was that left open? Because there could be some next levels coming out.
This is where it gets really interesting. Game 3 draft, or after it goes heavily one side to the other. So we'll be excited to see who is really going to be able to pick this one up. Today is definitely proving to be exactly the type of day we thought it was going to be. Lots of excitement. Good League of Legends. and back and forth action, and we're not even done after this. Genji Griffin later on tonight. It's going to be a good day of League of Legends, guys.
And it could be 2 best-of-5 previews as well. We could definitely see these 4 teams today tussling in best-of-5 as the season goes on. So let's get past this break and do it one more time.
Yeah, so guys, we're going to have one more commercial break before we do get to game number 3. We'll be right back.
오케이. 오케이, 플래시 받았고. 오케이, 현재 앞라인부터. 얘들아, 앞라인부터야. 오케이, 앨리스.
나도 있고.
앨리스.
베타.
뭐야, 가능해?
나 계속 가지긴 할 텐데.
나이스. 일단, 오케이, 어드란데? 베타.
제발 죽여.
야, 근데 이거 해볼래?
우물 다이브. 일단 밀고. 우물 다이브 해줄까?
해줘. 오케이, 해줄게.
가인이긴 한데.
일단 좀 줘라.
뭐야 가인이면 이거.
안 된다. 야, 가인이면 안 돼.
좀 줘라.
일단.